All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into one of the biggest questions in crypto, a number that you have definitely seen thrown around on social media and in all those forums.
Yep, there it is, $1,000. It's a pretty wild thought, right? I mean, a four-figure price for a top 10 coin, that's the kind of number that screams generational wealth. And let's be honest, it really captures the imagination like nothing else.
So, is it just pure fantasy? Or could there actually be a path to get there? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all the hype. We're not here for wild predictions. Nope. We're going to follow the simple, hard math to see if this whole what-if scenario can actually stand up to a reality check.
Okay, so before we can even think about that $1,000 price tag, we've got to back up a step. We need to really understand what XRP is and what it's designed to do. Because you'll see, its whole purpose is the key to unlocking this entire question.
All right, first things first, let's get a lay of the land with some key stats. You can see the price is hanging out around $2, and its all-time high was back in 2018 at $3.84. But here's what I want you to really pay attention to, those last two numbers. A market cap of over $124 billion and a circulating supply of, get this, over 60 billion XRP. That supply number, just lock that away in your brain. It's going to be absolutely crucial in just a minute.
You see, unlike a lot of other cryptos, XRP has a very, very specific job. It's not really for you and me. It was built for the big guys, the banks. It's designed to be a bridge currency, letting them zip money across borders in like 3 to 5 seconds instead of waiting for days. The whole system is built for speed, low costs, and it's laser-focused on those business-to-business institutional use cases.
Now, for what felt like an eternity, there was this giant, dark cloud hanging over XRP. And I'm talking about a massive lawsuit from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. The verdict in that case, man, it was a game-changing moment, not just for XRP, but honestly for the entire crypto space.
And look, this wasn't just some quick legal spat. We're talking about a nearly 5-year-long battle. It created so much uncertainty, and you could see it just weighing down XRP's price. Let's face it, when the SEC comes knocking, the market gets nervous. And for years, nobody really knew what XRP's future in the United States was going to look like.
And the final ruling was fascinating. The judge basically split it in two. The court said that for regular folks like us, buying XRP on an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken, that is not a security. Huge win for Ripple. But on the other hand, when Ripple sold XRP directly to big institutional clients in large chunks, those were considered security transactions, a really important distinction.
So what's the big deal here? Well, the key takeaway is what everyone was waiting for: regulatory clarity. That big legal question mark was finally gone. And once that happened, the floodgates kind of opened for renewed institutional interest. This paved the way directly for things like spot XRP ETFs, which are basically funds you can buy on the regular stock market. It gave mainstream finance a clean, regulated on-ramp to get into XRP.
Okay, so we've got the fundamentals down. The legal stuff is cleared up. Now it's time. Time to tackle that huge $1,000 question. We're going to get into the math now, and you're about to see how this dream holds up against a little bit of simple arithmetic. This is the reality check.
So to do this, we only need to understand one really simple idea: market capitalization, or market cap for short. All it is the total value of all the coins out there. You find it with a super simple formula. You just take the number of coins in circulation and multiply it by the price of one coin. That's it. Easy, right?
All right, let's plug in the numbers. We start with that circulating supply. Remember that number I told you to remember? A whopping 60.33 billion XRP.
Okay, now we multiply that by our big hypothetical price target, $1,000 per XRP.
And what do we get? We get a required market cap of $60.33 trillion. And I really want to emphasize that word. That's trillion with a T.
So just how big is $60.33 trillion? It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, so let's put it into perspective. That number is more than twice the entire annual economic output of the United States. It's more than half the value of every single stock on every stock market across the entire globe combined. It is an absolutely mind-bogglingly huge number.
Yeah, to put it another way, for XRP to get to that valuation, it would need to swallow the entire market caps of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even gold several times over. It would have to become the single most valuable asset on planet Earth by a ridiculous margin. We're talking a level of dominance that we have just never, ever seen before. So, the math, it just doesn't add up.
Okay, so if $1,000 is pretty much a fantasy, does that mean it's game over for XRP? No, not at all. Absolutely not. It just means we need to shift our thinking and look at what a more realistic, a more data-driven future could actually look like.
And this is a much more sensible way to think about it. Instead of just picking a crazy price out of thin air, this ties potential prices to actual market cap goals. So if XRP were to hit a $500 billion market cap, which is definitely possible with more adoption, that would put the price at around $8. If it hit $1 trillion, putting it in the same league as some major global companies, we'd be looking at about $16. And in a really, really aggressive long-term best-case scenario, a $5 trillion market cap would mean a price of around $83.
And really, this is the main thing to remember. XRP's value isn't supposed to come from having a super high price for one coin, like Bitcoin. That massive supply we keep talking about, it's a feature, not a bug. It's designed that way so it can handle huge volumes of payments. Its real growth is going to come from its utility, from being used by banks all over the world, not from people just buying and holding it, hoping for a moonshot.
So the real path forward for XRP has nothing to do with hype or memes. It's all about execution. The real long-term value is going to be built on things like getting more banks to actually use the technology, seeing more money flow in through those new ETFs, and expanding the number of payment routes it can handle around the world.
So this kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about, right? If the goal isn't some sky-high price, then what does success actually look like for a project like XRP? Maybe the true measure isn't the price of one token at all, but the total value of the problems it's solving for the entire global financial system. And that is a pretty interesting thing to chew on.